Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is AndyElliot. I look after marketing for AudioCodes in EMEA. I'm with my two colleagues, Jason Wyatt and EllisBossers. Jason's in the UK, Ellis is in the Netherlands. And over the last few weeks, we've attended a number of Microsoft Ignite events around EMEA region. So Johannesburg first, then London, and then Amsterdam. And we thought it'd be really useful to share some of the insights that we had from attending those events. In total, they had over 10,000 visitors, many of whom came to visit AudioCodes, which was great at the events. And it showed really and illustrated the level of interest in Microsoft's latest solutions, especially around modern workplace and intelligent communications. So part of that, of course, is Microsoft Teams. We use Microsoft Teams every single day here at AudioCodes. In fact, we're using it right now for having this chat. And we thought that we'd, again, share some insights from the events that we've recently been at. So let's start with Microsoft Teams in Amsterdam. And Ellis, what did you hear and see from visitors to the AudioCodes booth in Amsterdam last week?
Well, Microsoft is doing a great job promoting Teams. So from the conversations I had, it's definitely gaining traction in the market. And you can see that they're all speaking about their needs to drive employee productivity. And Teams can definitely help with that, Teams collaborations. But it was also clear that many of them are not quite ready to jump in just yet. Okay. So they had a lot of questions around how, when, and for whom it would make sense to make this move to Teams. And they had some really important questions around migration from their current infrastructure and their current voice solutions.
Yeah. Okay. Migration, I think, is a huge topic, and I think we had, in fact, I know we had several very similar conversations at the London version of the Ignite tour. Jason, what did you see as the single biggest issue that customers brought up with you in those conversations?
Okay, so I completely concur with Ellis. I think probably the biggest issue I heard was the need for kind of this gradual migration from their existing their legacy and existing infrastructure. Yeah. In all organizations, they're all kind of different stages of their adopting kind of intelligent communications and on that kind of journey. And I think typically we had a real mix. For example, a lot of organizations using kind of legacy PBXs still in lots of different locations. And with some actually already using Microsoft tools, and even if that's just for voice or just for collaboration or both, and indeed some organisations just using, in addition, using Teams for sort of collaboration. And while they see the benefits in moving to Microsoft Teams completely, including for sort of enterprise voice, they want to do so kind of gradually so that they can leverage the investments they've already made, in their kind of existing infrastructure. And that kind of coexistence and gradual, carefully managed migration is a critical factor for them all.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Yeah. What else did you hear, Alice?
Yeah, that was also an important issue for the customers that we spoke to at Ignite Amsterdam. And another issue that came up a lot was their need for simplicity. So in terms of user experience, and they all recognize that for any investment in new technology, user adoption is the way to drive return on that investment. And everyone who spoke to was looking at productivity increasements for all job roles and worker types. So mobile workers, people working from the office, and increasingly people working from home, of course.
Like us.
So there was much discussion around the fact that different personas and different work styles demand for specific devices and specific applications to improve both productivity and user satisfaction. So there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to device strategy.
I think that's absolutely right, and that was certainly borne out with some of the conversations we had in London as well. And we did notice that the recently announced partnership for AudioCodes with Jabra was actually a real benefit for many of the people that we spoke to, because it meant that we could have a very cohesive offering from both the whole range of AudioCodes IP phones for people who work in an office or a desk kind of based environment, to all of the Jabra headset range for those who work on the move or at home or whatever. And we know that in our own experience, we all use different devices, also based on personal preference. So having that choice is a really important aspect, I think, that we can bring to the market. One of the other topics I noticed that was really hot at Ignite Tour was direct routing for Microsoft Teams. That was mentioned by the vast majority of people who came to visit us at the AudioCodes booth. So it's clearly very important to them as they consider that migration. And I know, Jason, you just very recently wrote a blog on the AudioCodes website about exactly that topic, direct routing. So can you maybe help explain to those who are unaware of it exactly what it is in short form, and also some of the benefits that it brings enterprise customers?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So, if you want to use Microsoft Teams and you want to enable voice, you either have to subscribe to the Microsoft phone system, or if you've got an E5 subscription, you have that included. Now, on top of that, you'd need to have some kind of PSTN, which would either be a calling plan or direct routing. Now, you'll probably find for a lot of smaller organizations that a calling plan will be, more than sufficient. It will do what they need it to do. But for larger sort of organizations, larger enterprise organizations, calling plans just, they work out kind of cost prohibitive, or they've got existing contracts in place with their own telecommunication provider, and they've got their own calling bundles, so they want to kind of leverage that kind of existing infrastructure. Now there's additional benefits to this, and one of those is that if you've got legacy sort of CRM or contact center integration, or you want to do that kind of gradual migration to Microsoft Teams, then enabling direct routing through one of our session border controllers absolutely allows you to do that, and it allows you to leverage your existing network connectivity and tariffs that you have in place. And it's obviously a great way of achieving this to enable Teams and enterprise voice for Teams.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Jason. The two things I picked out talking to people at Ignite around direct routing were firstly, it was actually part of their migration strategy. Yeah, so they've already negotiated hard on network connectivity deals and tariffs with their incumbent providers. They don't want to lose that when they move to Microsoft Intelligent Communications. They want to retain that control over their voice network. And the second thing, of course, was not just voice control or part of migration. It's cost, managing their cost and their tariffs. So I think direct routing is a real open thing. And what was very encouraging at the Ignite tour was Microsoft very positive in promoting direct routing as a key vehicle to support enterprises moving to Microsoft Teams. So they're very supportive of the whole direct routing approach. They encourage their customers to look at it and leverage it. So it's good that AudioCodes is one of the few certified vendors to actually do that. That's a really good thing. Ellis, you also, it's related, slightly different but related. You also visited some enterprise customers in France recently to get some insight from them as well. Did you pick up any similar topics or insights from them?
Yeah, that's right. I recently visited some large enterprise customers to talk in France to speak about their enterprise communication needs. And all the issues we discussed so far came up. So migration, user adoption, direct routing, of course. And they're all looking for the right way to move forward. And what was clear from the conversations that, with the pace of change increasing all the time, they're really struggling with information overload. And they're looking to AudioCodes to help them see through this information overload, to understand all those changes, and to provide some guidance on what's the best way for them to move forward. And I think it's actually a very positive sign that AudioCodes is seen as a trusted advisor for enterprise communications in France as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. And we definitely saw that at the Ignite events. London, for example, many of the visitors to our booth actually proactively came to see AudioCodes because they were kind of struggling to see the right way forward or the right path forward for them. There's so many options, so many alternatives, not just from legacy or incumbent providers of communications, for example, PBX vendors, but also from new entrants into the market. Microsoft, of course, being one of those in terms of driving enterprise collaboration very proactively. So they're really looking for help in terms of how to move forward, and actually looking for a bit of an independent view in terms of which way to go forward, not one that's really aligned with a single kind of vendor approach. So I think they valued AudioCodes' independence in that perspective and ability to give good advice in terms of the potential way forward. And I think the fact that we integrate with so many PBX platforms and so many network and SIP trunking providers, that we can provide that good balance of solid, constructive, but also reasonably independent advice to help them on that journey to Microsoft Intelligent Communications. So that came through very strongly, I thought, in London.
Yeah, in France as well. Yeah.
Good. Jason, any final comments from you on the whole Ignite experience?
Yeah, absolutely. the good news for all organizations is that AudioCodes has the experience and the tools to help them on their journey to Microsoft Intelligent Communications, especially with Microsoft Teams. We can help with migration to leverage their kind of legacy infrastructure and to make best use of their existing contracts and applications they have in place. We're certified by Microsoft for direct routing, and through our extensive IP phone portfolio and partnership now with Jabra, we're able to offer a device strategy that can support all user types and user personas. So, we can really provide a secure bridge from that legacy world to intelligent communications wherever the customer is starting their journey from.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Jason, and thanks very much, Ellis. If anyone looking at this this short video chat would like any more information, then please visit the AudioCodes website, www.audiocodes.com, where we have many informative white papers, several of them written by Jason here, to educate you further on that journey to intelligent communications. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.